Hi all, welcome to the next video on Python for class 11 playlist. So in this video, I will introduce you one of the Python built-in functions, that is range function. Use of range function. Range function in Python generates a range object which contains a sequence of integers determined by its arguments. Actually, range function takes three arguments. The first argument represents the start value of the sequence, and the second argument represents the stop value of the sequence, and the step represents the difference between the integers in that sequence. We will see individually. As I mentioned before, start is the argument which specifies starting integers in the sequence of numbers generated by the range object. This start argument is inclusive in the range and which is optional. Since it is optional, it must have a default value, that is 0. And the stop argument specifies the last value in the sequence of numbers, but the stop argument is exclusive in the range. That means which is not part of the sequence that is generated by the range object, and which is mandatory argument. And the third one is step. As I mentioned, the step represents the difference between the integers generated by the range object. Here the step is also optional one. Its default value is 1. Now we will see various examples of the range object. Example 1. Range of 2, 6, 1. Here the start value is 2, stop is 6, and the step size is 1. That means it generates a sequence of integers which starts from 2 and moves up to 5, where the difference between integers would be 1. Then the range object generates a sequence which contains 2, 3, 4 and 5. And example 2, range of 1, 10, 2. Here the start value is 1, stop is 10 and step is 2. Hence, it generates a sequence which starts from 1 and moves up to 9 with a difference between the integers 2. Then this range object will contain the sequence of numbers 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. And example 3, range of 1, 5. It is having only two arguments. Those arguments are start and stop. Here the default step size 1 is used. And this object generates a sequence which starts from 1 and moves up to 4 with 1 as the difference between the integers. Then here the sequence of numbers will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the next example, range of 5. Out of all the three arguments, the mandatory argument is stop. Since I have only one argument here, that represents the stop value. Then it uses the default start value and the default step size. Then it generates a sequence which starts from 0 and moves up to 4 with a difference between the integers 1. Then we will get the range object with sequence of numbers 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the last example, range of 10, 0, -2. Here the start is 10, stop is 0 and the step is -2. Then it generates a sequence which starts from 10 and moves up to 2, because here the -2 is the difference between the integers. We cannot reach 0 here. It generates a sequence with numbers 10, 8, 6, 4 and 2. Now we will see all these things practically. Now I am considering a range object R1 which is generated because of the range function with arguments 2, 6 and 1. Suppose if I display range object R1, then I will get the range object with the arguments specified, but I won't get the sequence of numbers that it contains. To know the sequence of numbers contained by that range object, I am converting that range object into a list and then I am displaying that list. Then list of R1 gives us the sequence of numbers 2, 3, 4 and 5. Next I am considering another range object with arguments 1 and 5. then that will generate the sequence of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am considering another range object with only one argument. That argument is 5, which represents this top value. Then we can get the sequence in that range object 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Finally, I am considering another range object with arguments 10, 0 and -2. Then that range object contains 10, 8, 6, 4 and 2 as the sequence of integers. Now I am going to develop a Python script which will compute the sum of squares of first n numbers. Let me open a empty Python script by using the notepad, where my script name is sos.py, and this program is to compute the sum of squares of first n numbers. Obviously for this program the input is n, that I am getting as integer from the user. After getting the n value, I am taking a variable sum and then I am initializing it with 0. Then I am running a for loop. For I am taking num as a variable in. I am using a range object to get the numbers from 1 to n. That means the sequence should start with a number 1. Then I am using 1 as the first argument, and the sequence should end with n as the last integer. Then I need to use n plus 1 as the second argument to represent the stop value, because the stop value is exclusive. To get the last integer n, we need to mention n plus 1 as the stop value in the place of second argument. And the third argument is step. Since 1 is the default step, no need to mention. Now within the loop, we need to update the sum value to get the sum of squares of numbers. Then I am using the sum is equal to sum plus square of the number. We can get the square of the number as num exponentiation operator and then 2. Since exponentiation operator is having the highest precedence than the addition, first exponentiation will be computed. That means we will get num square first, and then that value will be added to the existing sum. After the termination of the for loop, I am going to display the value present in that sum variable, which is nothing but the sum of squares of first n numbers. I am using the print function with a string first. Sum of squares is. After that I am displaying the value of sum variable. I am saving the program, and then I am going to run this program from the command prompt by using the Python interpreter. Then it is asking the n value. I have given the value 3. Then I got the sum of squares as 14. 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, that is 1 plus 4 plus 9, we will get 14. That we got as the sum of squares. So that's it guys. In this way we can use the range function within the for loop to repeat that for loop for the specified number of times. So finally we can say the range function is used to generate a sequence of integers determined by 3 arguments. The first one is start value, second one is stop value, and the third one is step value.